You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on From Up on Poppy Hill. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover another anime film from Studio Ghibli. This time it's directed by Goro Miyazaki, which is for today's anime review is From Up on Poppy Hill. From Up on Poppy Hill is a 2011 Japanese anime drama film directed by Goro Miyazaki, who is known for the Tales from the Earthsea. The screenplay was done by Hayao Miyazaki and Keiko Niwa. It was animated by Studio Ghibli for the Nippon Television Network, Densetsu Hakuhodo, DY Media Partners, Walt Disney Japan, Mitsubishi, and Toho, and distributed by the latter company. It is based on the 1980 serialized manga of the same name, illustrated by Chizuru Takahashi and written by Tetsuro Ayama. So let's review this anime movie. Let's begin. Okay. Umi Matsuzaki is a 16-year-old girl attending Isogo High School living in Licot Manor, a boarding house overlooking the port of Yokohama in Japan. Her mother, Ryoko, is a medical professor studying abroad in the United States of America. Yep. Umi runs the house and looks after her younger siblings, Sora and Riku, and her grandmother, Hana. College student Sachiko Hirokoji, a doctor in training, Miki Hokuto, also live there. Each morning, Umi raises a set of signal flags with the message, I pray for safe voyages. One day, a poem about the flags being raised is published in the school newspaper. Shun Kazama, the poem's author and a member of the journalism club, witnesses the flags from the sea. As he rides his father's tugboat to school at Isogo High, Umi meets Shun when he participates in a daredevil stunt for the newspaper, leaving Umi with a negative first impression. Umi later accompanies Sora to obtain Shun's autograph at the Courtier Latin, an old and dated building housing Isogo High's clubs. Umi learns that Shun publishes the school newspaper along with Shiro Mizunuma, Isogo High's student government president. She ends up helping on the newspaper. Yep, helping on the newspaper in the process. Later, Shun convinces the other students to renovate the building after a debate on the future of the Courtier Latin, which may be demolished at Umi's suggestion at this point. The female student body cooperates with other students. Back at the Okilot Manor, Umi shows Shun a photograph of the three young naval men. One of these men is her deceased father, Yuichiro Sawamura, who was killed in the Korean War. Shun is stunned to see the photograph at home. At night, he opens up a notebook to reveal he has a duplicate of Umi's photograph. He questions his father, who reveals that Yuichiro arrived at their house one evening with a young Shun shortly after the end of World War II, especially. You guessed it. What is it with World War II in animes? Well, that's the question. The Kazamas had recently lost their infant, so they adopted Shun. At this point, upon discovering that he is avoiding her, Umi eventually confronts Shun, who reveals that they may be siblings. Having checked the city records as well, yeah, Shun discovers that both their names are in the Sawamura family registry. Umi is able to hide her feelings from Shun, and they continue as friends. Yep. At this point, when the renovation of the Courtier Latin is complete, the Kanagawa Prefectural Board of Education decides to proceed with the building's demolition. The student nominates Shun, Umi, and Shiro to visit Tokyo and meet with Tokumaru, a businessman at the school board's chairman. The trio travels through the city, which is in the preparation for the 1964 Summer Olympics, and successfully convince Tokumaru to visit the Quartier Latin after Shiro leaves the group. Umi professes her love to Shun and he reciprocates her feelings in spite of their situation. After she returns home, Umi discovers that her mother Ryoko has returned. Ryoko reveals that Shun's father was basically Hiroshi Tachibana, the second man in the photograph in 1945. Tachibana was killed in an accident on the repatriation ship. Shun's mother died in childbirth, and his other relatives were killed in the atomic bombing of Nagasaki. As you expect, you guessed it, that's what you hear in this anime. However, Ryoko was unable to raise Shun as she was pregnant with Umi during her time as a medical student. Yuichiro registered the child as his own to avoid leaving Shun as an orphan in the confused post-war years, but Shun was eventually given to a local couple, the Kazamas. Umi, however, still has concerns, as you expected, as well. Tokumaru visits the Quartier Latin the next day and impressed by the students' efforts in renovating the building, he decides to cancel the demolition. Umi and Shun are soon summoned to the harbor. They meet Yoshio Onodera, now a ship's captain who was the third man in the photograph and the sole survivor of the three. Confirming that Umi and Shun are not related by blood, Onodera tells the full story of the three naval men in the previous era. With everything resolved, Umi returns to Kokilekot Manor. She resumes her daily routine of raising the flags, but now it's not just for her father. And that's my review on From Up on Poppy Hill. There are some historical basis in this movie, like in the film, Umi's father was killed when his supply ship was sunk by mines in the Korean War, and Shun's biological father died aboard a repatriation vessel after the end of the Second World War as well. Following Japan's defeat in the Second World War, the Supreme Commander for the Allied powers assumed control over the Japanese merchant marine to return to perpetrates to their homelands at the start of the Korean War. Those ships, together with their Japanese crews, were pressed into service by the U.S. military to carry forces and supplies to Korea. Japanese vessels played a significant role in Cheon and Wonsan landings. The shipping firm Tozai Isen was among the most prominent firms involved, including an agreement with the U.S. military's Japan Logistical Command to provide 122 small vessels around the 1,300 crew for transport and landing at work. As well as what you see in the anime movie From Up on Poppy Hill. From Up on Poppy Hill was revealed as the new Studio Ghibli film for 2011 on December 15, 2010. It is based on the 1980s shoujo manga of the same name by Tetsuo Sayama, Chizuru Takahashi. It was revealed the director Goro Miyazaki would be directing. Yeah. Speaking of which, Goro Miyazaki is the eldest son of the Studio Ghibli's co-founder and acclaimed director, Hayao Miyazaki. He made his directorial debut in the 2006 film Tales from the Earthsea. From Up on Poppy Hill is his second work. Yeah, well, Tales from Earthsea is ironically particularly Goro Miyazaki's directorial debut, which is his first movie as well. Much like with other Studio Ghibli films, the film is a co-production with Studio Ghibli, Nippon Television Network, Densetsu Hakuhodo, DY Media Partners, Walt Disney Japan, Mitsubishi Corporation, and Toho Company Limited as well. In a press interview given after the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, it was announced the film's production was affected by the rolling blackouts imposed after this disaster. In particular, the animation process was forced to proceed in the night to minimize disruptions. When pressed about the progress, it was revealed that the animation was about 50% completed, though it was added that the animation would have been otherwise over 70% 100% complete without the disaster at this point, as it was 100% complete earlier before the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami happened. However, Hayao Miyazaki assured the public that the film would still be released on July 16, 2011, as previously announced, saying it was their responsibility to do so. Goro Miyazaki stated that while most of the staff was not affected by the disaster, there were several who did go through a period of mental affectedness because of what happened, and that it took some of time to recover from. Goro Miyazaki initially researched Yokohama, intended to be faithful to the city's historical details. However, after realizing that simply reenacting something of many times may seem enough, but may not be necessarily be beautiful, Miyazaki decided to show the location as shimmering and bustling with the life from the viewpoint of the characters. In designing the Quartier Latin, Miyazaki worked with the art directors who added ideas about the amalgamation of clutter in the house's many rooms, and attempt to look at the architecture of the building, but to also remember back to my college years and the clutter and filthiness that Miyazaki lived through. The film's animation directors include Akihiko Yamashita, Atsushi Yamagata, Kosaka, Takeshi Inamura, and Shunsuke Hirota as well. Yep, particularly for this anime movie. The main voice cast members were officially unveiled on May 13, 2011. It was announced that actresses Misami Nagasawa would voice Matsuzaki, the main character. This was Nagasawa's first acting role in a Studio Ghibli film. In addition, Junichi Okada, a member of the Japanese band V6, would be voicing Shun Kazama, a member of the school newspaper publishing team. Additionally, Jun Fukubi, Keiko Takeshita, Takashi Naito, Teruyuki Kagawa, Yuriko Ishida, Nao Omori, and Shunsuke Kazama would voice other minor characters in this particular anime movie as well. Yep. In June 2011, it was announced that a North America dub would be recorded, and that it would be executive produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall, written by Kerry Kirkpatrick, and directed by Gary Rydstrom, who worked at Skywalker Ranch at location as Lucasfilm. The cast members of the dub include Sarah Bulger, Anton Yelchin, Ron Howard, Jeff Dunham, Gillian Anderson, Chris Noth, Ronan Farrow, Isabel Furman, Emily Osment, Charlie Saxton, Alex Wolf, Bo Bridges, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bruce Dern, Christina Hendricks, Elisa Gabrielli, and Aubrey Plaza as well. And that's particularly for the English dub, particularly From Up on Poppy Hill. From Up on Poppy Hill was released in Japanese cinemas on July 16, 2011. It is debuted at third placing at the Japanese box office behind Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 and the dual-release Pokemon anime film Victini and the Black Heroes Karam and Victini and the White Hero Shiram as well. It managed to gross approximately about 587 million yen, and it affected about 450,000 viewers, especially for an anime movie like From Up on Poppy Hill. So that's maybe it for my anime review on From Up on Poppy Hill for today's anime review. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this anime review. It's been a while since I've seen this anime movie. I really loved it because it's made by Studio Ghibli, because I noticed that the film received a limited theatrical release in North America on March 15, 2013, because the English dub was directed by Gary Rydstrom for the anime movie From Up on Poppy Hill, I guess. Hope you subscribe for content. My anime planet link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitter, Facebook account, and all social media, be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments section on this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RurouniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new on my channel. Hit the notifications bell and be sure to get notified, and keep it otaku for this anime review. And I got another anime review coming up.
Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another 80s anime OVA, which I'll cover for my next anime review on Goku Midnight Eye. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Goku Midnight Eye, because you won't want to miss another anime review.